suppose it's a bit of a dark answer. In an ideal world, there should be no need for social innovation, social enterprise, because there'd be no problems to fix. But unfortunately, we're in a position where there are problems. And I mean, the UN created the Sustainable Development Goals in order to, with the 17 kind of most pressing problems that we do need to fix, and segment them down through environment, planet, or environment, people, and economies, and how do we make sure that we do that in a sustainable way. So for me, that's why they exist, to solve those problems, to make sure that we're all growing in a way that we do, that we're not destroying the planet, that we're not destroying each other, and that we're all able to live in harmony and peace.
I think we can see this in the fact that, you know, the social economy is increasing, and that it's getting increasing recognition, both nationally and also European-wide. So we can see how important the social economy is. And I suppose social enterprises, they just by the very nature, they are inclusive. They enable marginalized groups or disadvantaged locations to develop the capacity to not only create wealth in order to be sustainable and to develop themselves, but also by their very action and impact, they are promoting social inclusion, civic engagement, participation in society. And I think in very recent times, because as a result of COVID-19 and the restrictions and the lockdown that has been in place, it has really highlighted how vulnerable individuals can be, and also how societies and economies can be very vulnerable. And I think it's called for a rethink of how we organize economies and organize societies or social activities.
It's social innovation. It's flexible. It responds to today's needs. We have, we're living in a time with myriad challenges, and we're going through a pandemic right now. And I don't think that shareholder profit-seeking corporations can be the sole response to that. I think that we need, we need businesses, we need people who are looking also to the social aim, and these kinds of businesses can be more sustainable. They have they can have a long-term strategic outlook, provide job opportunities. They're really becoming more and more in the focus also of policymakers. The European Union is getting, really interested in social entrepreneurship and the social economy in general. And so, I think that the other key aspect I'd say is that they're providing goods and services where the shareholder corporations may not be willing to do so. Maybe it's too expensive to do it, or they're not interested because it's not where they make the most profit. But social enterprises can come in and fill that gap and respond to the needs that we're actually facing today.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, we're faced with huge challenges, major societal challenges that are not, dictated by borders, that are common to the whole of humanity, to tell you the truth. And the scale of those challenges means that we need to be, I think, moving beyond conservative thinking or traditional practices. It's certainly not going to be just the state or the private sector or individuals or communities in isolation of one another that are going to find solutions to these challenges. So I think that social innovation and entrepreneurship is critically important. To try to find solutions to some of those challenges around climate change, around the just transition, around equality and inclusion, around all of those kinds of areas, new ways of working, how we embrace and engage with technology, and so on. So I see it as critically important, actually, and I think that a smart government, a smart state, should be investing significant energy into the area of innovation, generally speaking. and in particular, as I said, social innovation and entrepreneurship.
I think sometimes we think of social innovation and social entrepreneurship as some kind of new phenomenon. And, research has shown us that, this is actually something that's gone on for, hundreds of years, if not longer, centuries. In fact, Jack DeForney has a great paper where he describes social innovation and social entrepreneurship structures from the Egyptian times, for example. And Greeks and Romans, setting up relief funds or collective brotherhood associations or craft guilds and all those kinds of things. And so, the structure of social innovation and social entrepreneurship and social enterprise has been around a substantially long time. But what's interesting is that, we historically, we would have described the advent of the social economy, for example, as, post-Second World War, demise of the welfare state, on a incremental rise of social problems and needs within communities that the public sector can't simply provide for, and also the increased capitalization and globalization of the private sector. And so this space in between becomes where the sort of hotbed for the creation of social enterprises, right? That's historically how we describe this space between the public sector and the private sector as the social economy. But I think what's changed, what I've noticed in particular that's changed significantly is, with the advent of the internet, we've all become more personally aware of our own self-impact on the world and on our community. We have access to open source data, we have online resources, we have sort of a mass acceptance now that the world's resources are finite and that we actually play a role in sustaining our communities and our local spaces. And so as we try and attempt to address these wicked problems, and now we have a personal sense of how we engage with those wicked problems, it seems to me that people just naturally are becoming more responsible in that way. So how we make our choices to buy something, how we make our choices in terms of how we vote is now beginning to reflect our social responsibility in lots of ways. I find it fascinating now when I'm talking to students. I remember when I started teaching social innovation and social entrepreneurship in Trinity in 2009. And of course, you can picture what the political and economic situation was in Ireland at that point. We were just about to have, and we were in the process of having a major economic crash. And of course, Trinity at that time and the School of Business, where most of the graduates that were coming out were looking to go into the big corporates or the financial institutions and things like that. And so they saw my class advertised as social innovation, social entrepreneurship, and thought, well, I like the entrepreneurship part. I have no clue what the social part's going to involve, but I may not get a job in where I thought it was going to go, so maybe I should take this class. And the transition that I found from 2009 to now is that I have students who set up their social entrepreneurship project in high school. And they're now coming into my class to learn how to scale their social impact, or how to, how to grow it, and how to achieve the social mission on a systemic scale. And it's just phenomenal to me that we've come through that. And I think it really is because of the internet and the open source data and this really deeply embedded sense with young people now that they have a social responsibility, and also that whatever career they choose, they don't have to set aside that sense of social responsibility. So they're looking for opportunities to bring their whole selves, what they believe in, how they want to behave, how they want to act as consumers in the world, into their jobs.
Social enterprise and social entrepreneurship is a very important part of our society in Ireland, our community. It's recognised by the EU, it's recognised by national government. There is significant policy development, policy direction, and resources being allocated to the sector. And it is a very rewarding and engaging career option for people. And if in Ireland we want to grow the social enterprise sector, we need highly competent, experienced individuals. And so I would encourage your audience and your fellow academics and your career guidance office in DCU to promote social entrepreneurship as a very enjoyable and rewarding career option.